Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more creepy stories. And if you have any story ideas or recommendations, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Now sit back, relax, and let's get into it. The boundary we shouldn't have crossed. I never should have gone on that trip. If I had just stayed home, I wouldn't have seen the things I saw. I wouldn't wake up every night in a cold sweat, convinced I can still hear it breathing just outside my window. It was supposed to be a simple camping trip, just me and my 3 closest friends, James, Tyler, and Mark. We'd been talking about it for months, planning the perfect weekend in the remote backcountry of Colorado. A break from the city, from work, from the stress of everyday life. Just us, the trees, and the open sky. The first 2 days were incredible. We set up camp in a quiet clearing surrounded by towering pines, a crystal clear river just short walk away. We finished, cooked over the fire, and told stories late into the night. It was exactly what we'd hoped for. Then, on the 3rd day, we decided to go for a hike. James had found an old unmarked trail on a satellite map that led deep into the forest. He claimed it would take us into an ancient rock formation, something rarely seen by hikers. None of us questioned it. We packed some water, grabbed our gear, and set off. Looking back, I should have noticed the signs. The way the birds suddenly stopped chirping as we walked, the strange symbols carved into the trees, worn by time but still visible, the unsettling stillness in the air, like the forest itself was holding its breath. About 3 miles in, we reached a small clearing where a row of old wooden poles stood, some broken, some still standing tall. They were covered in red paint. At least, I hope it was paint, marking a boundary of some kind. "This is probably private land," I said, hesitating. James shrugged. "It's fine. No fences, no signs, just some old posts. Let's keep going." I didn't like it, but I didn't want to be the one to ruin the trip. So we stepped over the line. And that's when everything changed. At first, it was subtle. As we hiked deeper into the woods, an uneasy feeling settled over me, a quiet paranoia I couldn't shake. I kept looking over my shoulder, convinced something was watching us. The others joked about it, calling me jumpy, but I wasn't the only one who felt it. Mark started glancing around more, his usual easygoing nature replaced with quiet suspicion. Even James, the skeptic, seemed on edge. Then we started hearing things. It began with whispers, soft, distant, carried on the wind. At first I thought it was just the sound of trees creaking, the wind rushing through the branches. But then the voices became clearer, low murmurs, just beyond the reach of understanding, a language none of us recognized. "Do you hear that?" Tyler asked, his voice barely above a whisper. We all nodded. No one was laughing anymore. As the sun began to set, the woods grew darker, faster than they should have. The air felt heavier, charged with something unseen. The trees seemed closer together, their branches twisting unnaturally. The path, once clear, was now overgrown, as if the forest was trying to erase our presence. "We should head back," Mark said. No one argued. We turned around, retracing our steps, but the path wasn't the same. It wound in ways we didn't recognize, splitting in directions we hadn't taken. Landmarks were passed earlier, an old fallen tree, a cluster of boulders were gone. Or worse, they had moved. "We didn't come this way," I muttered, my pulse quickening. James pulled out his phone, checking the GPS. His face paled. "The map's not loading. No service." Tyler cursed under his breath. "Great. Just great." That's when the noises changed. The whispers stopped. The forest went deathly silent. Then came the clicking. At first it was faint, like the sound of a camera shutter, but it grew louder, sharper, echoing through the trees. A rhythmic, unnatural clicking moving closer. Then, footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, coming from all sides. "There's something out there," Mark whispered. We moved faster, nearly running now. Our breaths ragged, the footsteps kept pace with us, but we saw nothing. The shadows between the trees seemed deeper, shifting in ways that didn't make sense. Then James screamed. We turned just in time to see something pull him off the path. Something tall, impossibly thin, its limbs too long, its movements wrong. It moved like it was learning how to use its own body, jerky and unnatural. It had no face, just smooth, pale skin where its features should have been. Then, as quickly as it appeared, it was gone. And so was James. Panic set in. We called his name, but there was no response, just the suffocating silence of the woods. Then the whispers returned, but this time they knew our names. One by one they called us, mimicking our voices. James' voice, pleading, crying, begging for help. Help me, please, I'm hurt, I can't move. We weren't stupid, we knew it wasn't him. We have to go, I said, grabbing Tyler's arm. But James is gone. The words tasted like poison. We ran. The forest twisted around us, the trees closing in, the clicking grew frantic, a chaotic course of snapping joints and chattering teeth. Shadows moved in our peripheral vision, always just out of reach. Then, ahead of us, the boundary. The wooden poles stood tall, the red markings almost glowing in the darkness. Safety. We sprinted for it. As we crossed the threshold, the sound stopped. The whispers, the footsteps, the clicking, gone. We collapsed on the ground, gasping for air. The forest beyond the boundary was silent, still. James never came out. The next morning we went to the rangers. We told them James had gotten lost, that we needed help finding him. They sent out a search party. They found nothing. No footprints, no signs that we had ever been there. And then one of the rangers asked us something that still haunts me. You said you crossed an old wooden boundary? We nodded. He sighed, shaking his head. You boys are lucky you made it out. What do you mean? I asked. He hesitated, choosing his words carefully. There are places in these woods that don't belong to us. Boundaries meant to keep things in. You should have never crossed it. I wanted to ask more, to demand answers, but the look in his eyes told me he wouldn't say anything else. We left that day, but something followed us. At night, I still hear it. The clicking, the whispers, the sound of James' voice, calling to me from the dark. I know now, he's not dead. Not really. But he's not James anymore.